Welcome to episode 3 of the 109 van. This is my dad's car. We bought it off a chap at the pub, or he bought it off a chap at the pub. I've been studying around for quite a while. It needs a brake overhaul, needs new suspension. Really just getting it into good tidy order. Steering just needs a slight overhaul. But as is predictable with Land Rovers, the biggest issue here is rust. Now a lot of this stuff is surface rust, but this is a classic example of what happens when something gets smeared in silicon rubber. Look at this shit. This is all silicon. And look what it does to the metal underneath. It's a short-term fix, chaps. So I was hoping to get away without doing the floor pan on the driver's side. I might as well fucking do it for the sake of the aggravation. On the passenger side, I've been going away with Mr. Tappy, and we found some holes on the A-post, which is fairly normal. But the footwell, aside from the fact it's been nastily plated here, has got patches all over the place. So I'm going to do this side anyway. I'm going to get the outer wing off, and then once the outer wing's off, I'll be able to see what I'm doing. Floors need to come out. That's easy. They look just like they've been bolted in. Should be able to get the floors out intact. Yeah, see where we're going with this thing then. Going to get an order in for bits. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do about this deck panel, because the majority of this deck is actually in pretty good order. There's a tiny bit there which I could just fill in with weld. There's a few bits up here. Again, let's use that finger. Ow. A few bits up here. Let's practice using this bloody finger again. All the way around here isn't too bad on the driver's side. Just light restoration. You can get this profile top and bottom from places like YRM and just cut out the chunk, weld in a new bit. On the passenger side, it's a little bit worse. So we've lost completely, using that finger, lost the majority of the strength around this fart flap hinge. Around the main bonnet hinge, there's quite a lot of corrosion down there. And on this side, you can see particularly it's gone in there. So I am wondering whether I just take the screen out and cut this bulkhead top section off. It's 80 quid for outer skin for both sides, but then it's going to be hours to fit the fucking thing, because on the Series 3, these screen supports, they're welded to it. They're not bolted through like they are on the Defender. This is quite a late Series 3 as well. This is a 1980 Series 3. So you can see they're very clearly welded down the outside. And I know on Defenders, this piece is designed to unbolt. So, I think I'm going to start really with stripping this thing down. Screen needs to come out. In order to get the screen out, we're going to have to mess around with the headlining in here. I don't think there's going to be any great loss. This metal reinforced plate up here, you see, is dissolved. That's that one goes along there. It's metal for some reason. The rest of the headlining, though, apart from being absolutely minging, isn't too bad. So I'm going to start by getting the screen out. And that can come out, get this wing off, get the bonnet off, get the floors out. And we'll see where we are. Where's Mr. Tappy gone? There's Mr. Tappy. What are we looking at here? See, someone's actually put new door A-post on this and welded it on just there. Quite strong. Just tatty. Leave it on me. Anyway, I've undone the bolts along the top of the rail here, taken off the crash pads above the doors, taken the headlining out. That's looking nice up there, isn't it? There's the headlining. That's definitely not staying. The whole headlining, the whole frame is rotted. It's no way to going back in. It's a mess. Right, next thing I've noticed is quite a lot of rot up here as well on the bulkhead. All around this area, so it's probably wise to be taking this screen out. Now I've undone the the nut that holds the pin through the screen, this fella here. Next I'm just undoing these bolts here, because I did wonder how long they might be. They're not actually that long, so they just secure this thing onto the screen. So next thing I'm going to need to do is to undo these bastards. Now I might need to get Mr. Grindy in there, but we'll see. I'd rather not. We'll see. Once they're loose, I should be able to pivot the screen forwards, take the bolts out, and lift him off. But at the moment, well, that was a palaver, wasn't it? These bolts up here have been put in drier than a witch's tin. Now these ones are actually, they're giant spy nuts. Like that, you see? But they were not fun. They're normally a lot easier to get out than that. And also, I'm used to all 4 of them being on slides. So basically you loosen them all and then you slide it into place. But on this one, for some reason, the top and bottom one are not on slides. You can see the middle 2 are on these things where you can just basically slide the wing up and off. I don't know why. Anyway, the rest of the inner wing is actually presentable. There's a little bit of rust down here, nothing particularly serious. Someone's replaced that top plate up there. Again, not particularly serious. It's all looking quite clean and tidy. Did any bolts shear off on this? No, I don't. I had to cut the heads off the nuts because someone had put like 5-inch long bolts. I'm not having a tinkle, by the way. I'm just emptying the block because I don't trust the amount of antifreeze that's in there. It's like, you know, it's barely registering antifreeze in there, so I'm emptying that out as a precaution. Plenty of fun up here. So this is an original doorpost because it's still spot welded to the original side frame there. Okay, but there's that yellow colour again. Now the yellow colour is actually over the top of the blue colour, so I've got no fucking idea. I just think it's some sort of rust protection that someone's just sprayed in under the wings. That's all I can think. Fan, utterly ruined. Doesn't do anything at all. It's just rubbish. So that's got to come off. Heating unit is probably all right. I'll check him out. Having fun with these 2 bolts here. They're supposed to go into captive nuts. And I've had to cut open the other side of the bulkhead because the captive nut is just turning. And I can't get the angle grinder in there to cut the head off the bolt anyway, so I've just had to go medieval on it. So I'm going to lube it up now, clamp those and see if I can get it off that way. No real issue because a lot of this is hidden by the inner dashboard anyway, but I've got so much welding to do around the inside. It just seemed crazy to be fucking around trying to get hold of things through holes. Oh, the other thing I'm looking at here is whether what I do about this up here. So I can probably drill out the bolts down the middle here, but I'm going to need the screen off. And because I'm replacing this upper bulkhead section here, this really is getting quite nasty up here. There we are, you can see all that. That's at the top edge of the windscreen edge. Oh, there's a nice pack of rizzers up there, look at that. Someone's been having a smoke. Yeah. And the other thing I've kind of been going around is some of this stuff isn't actually silicon seal. Some of this stuff is actually the original dum-dum kind of material. All it's done really is allow water to sit behind it. Now look, this big piece down here, it just comes off and there's rust behind it. So all this shit needs to come out. Rust. Fucking thing. Right, just getting these off. We're not having fun with this. So you can see the captive nut there. Except it's not a nut, it's just some sort of round riv nut thing, affair, which seems to have been loosely fitted. Perhaps a nylon fitting. And I can't get the bolt out far enough because it's now wedged, and I can't get a hacksaw in there, I can't get an angle grinder in there. I'm starting to kind of like get a bit frustrated with the whole thing really, in all honesty. And it's out. In the end, the only way I was going to do it was by using a small drift to take the outer shell apart, which I've thrown down here in disgust somewhere. Bloody fly's still around. And then I was then able to get hold of the outer part and undo it. Now, this one's looking even longer and even more irritating here. So I think what I'm going to do is get a wire brush in there first of all and see if I can clean some of that thread up, and then lube it, and then do a similar thing with the mole grips to hold the pin in place. What a bastard. I was even kind of going through it with the junior hacksaw. I kind of got almost all the way through as well. And even then it wouldn't snap. There's one place for that. Weighing it in. There's quite a lot of rust collected in this corner here. Salty rust. I expect that's not going to affect too much. That's gone through, and through, and through, and through. Yeah, so I'm kind of selling myself really. The whole fucking thing needs to come apart. So what I'm going to end up... Oh, an absolute balls acre. The only way I could do it really was by putting a mole grip in there. As you can see, there's not really a huge amount of access. I could have cut the hole a bit bigger, I suppose. But anyway, it's more or less out now. So you can see, last few turns. This is going to drop onto the floor. Thank you, little Moley. Little Moley's done its job. Little Bolty is out. Bastard. The heater box can come off. There we are, one heater box. Now, it did have water in it. I might give that some Coca-Cola. It's looking a bit ganky, isn't it? Anyway, we'll have the heater working. Let's just tilt something down up here for now. Get the thing emptied. It's like fizzy gravy, isn't it? For now. Matrix looks in good order. It's always nice when you find the god of filler. The god of bodge. Look at it all up here. Mr. Filler. Actually clean metal up there, it's all rusty as fuck down here though. Which explains why it's rusted all again. In fact, you can see all the filler coming out here. Let's get Mr. Chisel. Right. Filler. 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 Filler over holes. Big lumps of filler, look at it, yay! All through holes, nice. It's actually getting rapidly towards the stage where this bulkhead would be better off on the bench. Look, like that many fucking little bits to weld up on it, and welding up upside down is no fun at all. Right, floors next I think. Pissing around with this. There's barely anything holding this top hinge on up here. There's nothing around there at all, and I reckon, yeah, see it's gone in there. How much that moves. It's not a safety critical point, a top door hinge, but still it wants to be stronger than that. Well, it probably is actually, because if you're going to get a side impact you're fucked in a Land Rover anyway. Oh Lord, what have I done? Right, this is the side I want to do first though. I suspect all this is filler up here as well because it looks far too smooth up there. That should be a welded joint. Right, so the rest of this needs to come out. And I think even if I do decide to lift the bulkhead out, I mean look at the rust down here. This is going to be a bulkhead out job. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's only really those two bolts that are holding it in. These fellas down here, they're the only two bolts that are actually holding it in at the moment. Undo those and the floors and it's out. Right, let's get these floors out. So, floors should be holding with spire nuts. So let's see what they look like. Let's just have a sweep out. And again, we're seeing loads and loads and loads of this kind of seam sealer. I'm actually going to say this is silicone because it's rubber. Someone's really been going out of their way to seam seal this all up. get this on the floor, and I'm going to sweep it up later on. So what we've effectively got here is, now we can see what's going on there. We've basically got the floor panel, which nice big oblong shape, and the high-low range gear goes through it. Handbrake goes through the seat box, which I don't need to take out, but I will need to undo the gaiter for the high-low. And then I'll need to undo all these spire nuts, which is giving me a laugh. Hopefully they haven't got nuts on the bottom of them. Hopefully they are still spire nuts. First look with the floor out. Oh, it's not too bad under here. Chassis looks pretty good, as I thought. Floors come out, reuse that. Rather hoping that the sill panel is going to be able to detach from the A-post. We'll find that out shortly. Go get the other floor up. Occasionally, when you're doing projects like this, I do find it's easier to undo the bodges and find out really where the original metal is, rather than start hacking around. So basically what's happened here is the lip on the centre piece that this welds to has largely rotted away. I can make that back up again, that's not a problem. You can see the floor's rotted away, been placed and then rotted away again. And someone has bolted this big old plate over the top of it. No real problem with bolting it over the top. It's done its job. But by cutting the bolt heads off that, because they were largely rusty, I've been able to now see the original structure of the car. Starts to make life a little bit easier. So I'm going to need to order panels next, I think, to work out what's the best way of handling this. I've not actually released the chassis, sorry, the bulkhead from the chassis. That's down there. This big bastard bolt here, and that's a piece of the outer sill cover that's broken off there. I got them both off. They're both sitting up there, patiently waiting for me. On this side, although it's been patched again, it would appear to have been patched by cutting the original floor out, because the join's along the top here rather than plated over it. But again, this joint here has just completely rotted out, so the whole thing needs to come out. And again, it's just a case of finding the spot welds along this edge, drilling the spot welds, cutting the rest of it off, and at the top here there should be some spot welds along this edge up here, which I'm going to need to identify. They run along that. So that piece, and this piece up here stay, and that piece stays, and the rest of this goes, including this bit up here. And you notice on this side, this is the retaining strap here for the door check strap. And down here, you see, it's just a complete mess behind this A-post. I don't know what's happened there. I think they've just welded an A-post on. Pigeon snotted, sneezed an A-post on. It's actually quite solid. I mean, it didn't really move. It moves nowhere near as much as the one on the other side, but it's still coming off because it's all full of wob up here. That's all. In fact, let's get a... Oh, we'll get Mr. Pointy. He's quite good at finding wob. You can see now. Oh yeah, look, wob-tacular. In fact, that's all rotten out at the top there. It's largely rotted out on this side as well, or around the bottom of it is. Again, more wob. Filotacular. See how much as that's moved since I've been knocking it. So that's obviously because the screen's not bolted in at the moment, it's just loose fitted, but also you can see the top of the bulkhead up there is separated from that piece. I'm getting more and more worried about this bulkhead, to be honest, because I've got a feeling it is a right... I mean, down here I cut out this piece. I want to try and retain if I can, but I'm going to need to get the screen out and that is just not attached at all. That's not even been welded, that's just been kind of put on and then filled over. And this side, we've already been over this side, haven't we? Finding the wob. Oh, another load up here. Not as much. You can see the original weld there. And whatever this paint is, it doesn't stick very well. It's all a bit of a shambles really, isn't it? It's interesting how this top edge here still looks like new. Far less bodge width than that side. Well, okay, a big fucking great load of filler down here. Oh, another big load of filler. So it's less bodged on this, sorry, less welded on this side, more bodged. So it's certainly an A-post on this side, without a shadow of a doubt. There's no way is that salvageable. I'm surprised that the door wasn't misbehaving more than it was. You can see with little provocation how much has fallen out here. This is the inside edge of round here. That's all okay. That down there's rotted out because of mud that was sitting up behind the heater. Soon cut that out. I don't know why that's rotted. I can only assume that's something to do with the dashboard on the bulkhead. It's astonishing how these things just fucking disintegrate when you start pulling great lumps of steel out. And the level of bodgery, in fact that's already filled down there. It is. There we are, filler. Filler. So that's how much that was filled. Probably not as bad as that when it was first filled, but they're certainly not improved by sticking filler over the top of it. Right, good news is, from what I can see inside, the inner structure is not looking very rusty at the moment. The inner structure only goes down to about here, and then the A-post takes over. So the inner structure really is what supports the windscreen. And that seems to be okay. In fact, on the inside here, it's looking, if I lift the windscreen support out of the way, you can see it's actually not looking too bad up there. Driver's side, I don't know what the driver's side looks like. Like I say, the driver's side's been messed around with a little bit more. Oh. Yeah, not bad. That up there's rotted out, but that's the same as on the other side. That is the same. And this edge, all the way along this edge, has rotted out. And that is really going to cause me some headaches under there. Because it'll all need welding up. Because if it's not needed, why did they put it on? So that's the top edge of the bulkhead. It's going to cause some headaches. A-post, not a problem. Footwell, not a problem. Skin on the outside of the bulkhead, not a problem. All of those parts are available. The bits that might cause me a problem are screen hinges, because they're different on Series 3s and Defenders. The actual part that the bolt goes through, because it's just seized on solid. If I can get... And then down here we've got a huge great patch here, which is the one I could see from the other side. So this is the reason down here that I wasn't too happy with it. But I might be able to weld this from this side rather than taking the bulkhead off. So if I cut this piece of crap out and make up a new flange and put the new floor in, that might look a bit better than what's been left. if I go in over the top of the engine, you can see it all down there. All of this shit down here on the end of the chisel, you see? It just looks ghastly. And it's all double skinned again, it's just welded over rust. And all of this lot down here, looking pretty terminal in fact. It's all full of holes. And that's the fuel pump. Full of nice unleaded fuel. So before I start pissing around with that, I might want to isolate the fuel system, drain it, get the fuel pump off. Which just ends up being more fucking work, doesn't it? Which is why I was thinking about getting the bulkhead off, lift the whole thing out, and then work on it on the bench. And then I have to weld upside down up here. Welding upside down is just not fun. Right, it will live again. It's going to live again. Fret not. I like these projects, they're good fun. They are fun. Now, the other thing that I was pondering, hammer of pointiness, is if I didn't replace the entire outer skin, which is looking less and less likely with the more crap I see around here, then you can kind of locally cut in a flange along here. You see all that is filler up there. That's all filler. See it all moving around. Fucking great lump of it. All of that. Big lump there. Oh no. Foam. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I like that. That's a really good idea. Let's wedge an old dish mop up there. Put a bit of filler over the top of it, because that's not going to cause it just to rot out violently, is it? I don't know if it's ignorance that does this or whether there's malicious intent when people do these things, but I'm going to put it down to ignorance. That people just did not assume that a piece of foam was going to rot this out mercilessly. That isn't even attached there. That's another piece there that's just going to... Let's get the fly guard off that before I knacker it, I think. Right.